It's September 28th, Tuesday. So to begin, I did make a quick cheat sheet or kind of U-House specific commands that we'll be using on Blackboard. So under our studio folder, if you guys want to download it, it will probably help. And you can maybe take notes onto sort of to go with it. So just these are some of the commands I'm going to teach you that are more specified to our house. I think the only one that Spencer didn't use is the sweep, which is going to be the coolest one we do. And then I also want to make clear that like part of this is teaching you how to use the software, and the other is like letting you immerse yourself. Like all of us have said several times, architecture and software are languages. We need you to like immerse yourself in it. So I'm going to show you how to do the roof line and some other details that are a little bit challenging, and then the rest of it I'm going to kind of leave on to you guys, having had the tutorial from Spencer and then also me to kind of fill in the rest of it. So I've taken the main stumbling blocks, I think, and then I'm going to let you guys run free with the rest of it. I'm going to give you a lot, so don't worry about it. But yes, this is where the handout is. So let's go and quit. So to start, let's open up your last Rhino file. What am I? 1C? Oops. Sorry, I was rage drafting, so my files aren't as clear as I usually like them. But, so you can theoretically just start a new one. I would take all of your drawings here. Let me expand this. So you really just need your elevations and your sections and your plan. So I'm literally just going to copy these, make a new one, and paste it. That's a new, fresh stuff. Where'd it go, though? Okay. Okay, so let's do document properties. Yes, we're in millimeters. Make sure you're in inches always. Yes, and then make sure you change your layout too. Layout model, inches. Okay. So let's zoom select. So who can guess what the main issue is going to be in modeling the U-House? What's going to be hard? The steps are going to be hard for sure. What was the other? The slope of the roof and the curve. Both of those generally are are harder to model than a box. So the house, Thomas's house, the Miller house is very rectilinear, but ours is a big curve. However, if you're not, because we have this command called sweep. So let's start by making some layers though. Let's rename this one def. And why didn't it work? What the heck? That's really weird. I don't know why it's not letting me name my layers. Last time. Alright. Oh, maybe because I already have that layer. Okay, so we've got our def lines, and then let's do 3D. Really quick, like Spencer showed, make a layer for everything you know you're going to put in there. So let's do landscape, or let's do front steps. exterior walls, interior walls. We may not use this one. Windows. White's gonna be hard to draft with, so make sure you change that. What else do you think we'll need? Sorry. Furniture. We probably aren't gonna model any furniture. You will in future, but we're gonna keep it fairly simple. We're gonna mainly just do the exterior. So, but furniture, I think. What else? Windows, and let's do doors. And got a big typo. Okay. It's also not the most comfortable drafting position, so sorry if it's a little slow. All right. So we've got all of these, so let's go to def. So the first thing we're going to do is make everywhere that we have, if we look at our sections, we see that the house mostly looks like this around the U-bend. So all the way from here all to here, we have the same profile. So if we look at our section, we see it looks like this all the way around. What that means is we get to cheat, or it's not really cheating, but we get to sweep. So let's make a polyline. And just take one profile. Or you could do, here, let's do what Spencer taught us, or do border. And now you've got your curve that looks like this, and we're going to move it over here. Lost it. Okay. So there we've got our profile. And then we need to take the path. So the path it's going to go is everywhere around where it's the U. So we want to retrace out our U. So let's redraw it. Let's do start arc. So hopefully you all have gotten very good at art start point. All right. And then lines down. And I'm going to stop right at the wall thickness. Okay, so let's do it again. You could theoretically offset, but I feel like this, gives you more accuracy. And it'll become clear why the emphasis on having the sameness between drawings, because we're going to literally just copy things from sections and elevations and then tilt them and then use them to map our 3D model. Okay. So let's get our def points. I need one more. Okay, so I'm going to just move this away and finish it. And then we want to join it. And then let's line this up. And make sure you line it correctly so that the peak is on the outside, because it could be, you would just have to redo it, but make sure you always stay oriented. And we're going to move into perspective so we can do the rest of it. Some people like to draft with multiple views open. I kind of like to switch in between. It's personal choice. But here we go. All right, so this is the move we're going to do is sweep 2, which means sweep 2 lines. Select the first rail. Uh-oh. Hold on. Ooh. Trouble in paradise. All right, I wonder if this one. Oh, my mirror wasn't perfect. Okay. What's going on here? Ah. Okay. So now that we have it, sweep 2. And with 3D modeling, there's going to be a lot of zooming in and zooming out to find out what's not connected or what's not lining up. Usually it's 2 things that aren't aligned where they look they are, and you have to go in pretty high. All right, so I selected the 2 rails, or this is the pathways, and then we're going to select what's going to get the sweep, and it's going to be this. And it's also important that I did this all as one polyline, so it's counting as one line. If you did it as multiple, you'd have to join it, but it needs to be one curve. And then we do this. We want to make sure we maintain height, and this should do it. All right, so let's change to shaded, and we've got, are you?
Really quick, you're screen recording this too, right?
Yes, I think so. Yep. So, yeah, make sure you have maintain height, because I did that with it off and it looked wonky. But it should be pretty simple. If you're having trouble, it's probably a problem with your lines. So let's go back to top, and we need to do the same thing with the back part of it. So first, let's make our path. We'll go from here to here, and then copy it. Oops, it's not long enough. And then just copy it straight down to the end of your roof. And let's move it. Now we do our polyline again. And we're going to ignore the window, and then later I'll show you how to punch holes in your walls, or I think Spencer showed you how to do that. So you're going to just do the profile of the walls, and we're not going to do the profile of the window, because if we did, it would just be one long window.
So we really shouldn't do windows or doors until we get it
Right.
all set up.
Yep, I would do them as a punch, after the fact. And also, I encourage you to be cleverly lazy. And by that I mean, if we're not going to be seeing it in the axon view we're doing, and I'll show you the axon view, you don't have to draw it.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I
Can you
could.
do it from the back corner so you don't see us?
We're gonna do it in the southeast axon. But here, let me show you the view we're doing. So like mostly, it's gonna be similar to this. So you will have to do the courtyard door, and you'll have to do this opening. But you could skip the window here, and you could skip the windows on this side. You will probably need to do the wall still.
Oh,
but,
really quick, those boxes too that are going to be shown too, right?
yes.
Those little two
Yeah,
boxes?
they are. I was just kind of showing the,
Okay.
yeah, you'll want the front of everything, but you probably don't have to model the back windows.
Okay.
You can, it's just we're not gonna see it, and I'd rather you spend time getting the things we will see, and that will be in the image we're creating, make them look good. So be cleverly lazy.
So how do we create the lip on the back of the roof?
Which lift?
If you go back to the picture, it's like triangle.
Yep, you can, yeah.
This one?
We will get there. We're going to do that next, and that'll be another example of just stealing from our already done drawings. So, where am I? Okay, so did we get, yeah, we did draw this. And so we do the exact same thing, orient it the way we need it. And the more precise you can be, the less work you have to do. So with a lot of things in architecture, if you put more work on the front end, you have less work afterwards. So I'm using the move command, and I'm making sure that I grab on specific points. Oops. That looks wrong. Whoa, sorry. And I see this is where, if I didn't catch that, it would trip off. Okay. So you want to make sure with using the move command directly to do like one corner to the corner it needs to be on. So these are our rails. Oh my gosh, the mouse thing. Okay. So the same command as before, sweep 2. So I think you could probably do sweep 1, but 2, make sure you do it. And then the shape that we want to sweep. And make sure we maintain height, rails. All right. So let's go into top view and move our, let's just, and I think that this goes, voila. So we've got our U-bend. And then something we should have also done before, but I was drawing the one, is we want to make sure we put it on the right level. So exterior walls, we've got it. So let's go back to perspective. We need to now do our back wall to make sure we get that lip that Liz pointed out. So to do that, we're going to do extrude. And we're just going to trace the profile of our south elevation. And I'm going to put the door in there too. And I think sorry, that looks a little off. So use our friend the polyline. Make sure you get really close in there. I think that's also one that like Spencer's dupe border would probably also have been quicker, or was what he used, Boolean curve. But all right, so this we do an extrude. Does anyone remember how thick the walls are? 8 inches, that's right. So we have our 8-inch wall. Oops, and let's turn it into a wall. And then the command we want to use is cap. And we've got our surface. And then we move it. You line it up. And gumball is really helpful in ortho mode to make sure everything stays on. Also try to get rid of polylines because sometimes they show up and make 2D. So we move, and you literally just match it up. If your drawings were relatively tight and consistent, you shouldn't have a problem. If not, you might have to wiggle some things around. So we have this door, and so we know that we are going to see part of that door in our ISO. So to show you, where is that picture? So we know that we see that a little bit. So we need to make sure we cut that out. So what you'll do is you'll just find your plan, and I think this is, how tall is that? Is it open all the way? It looks like it's like 2 feet below the top, and we know that's 11 feet, so do a rectangle. And do 11. Let's do 9 feet. I should have done this at the top. That wasn't the best way to do it. Never mind. So I'm just making sure that this is the size that we want. We got the size of our door. We'll bring it in. And you guys remember how to use cut plane from the other exercise we did? That's a good one to use if you just want to see through it. Let's see. So we want right. So cut plane. Not sure why my cut plane isn't working. Oh, it's really small. Alright, hold on. Let me figure out. Am I doing? It's cut plane though used, right?
What is it that you're trying to do?
When it cuts. Clipping plane. Sorry, I'm using a different software. I was like, that's not. Thank you. All right. Clipping plane is what I was trying to talk about.
Oh, yeah, this
All right, now where to go? Hold on. Eat. So let's do this, and then instead of front, let's look at it. Set view, let's do the back. Okay. So let's make this shaded. That still looks kind of. So we want to move it right to where you're going to cut it. My clipping plane isn't working as well as I wanted it, but so you select the material and you select this object and you say trim, and it should have trimmed it out. Let's try again. Extend cutting. Okay. Oops. All right. So, hopefully I didn't cut too much. Now we have our doorway. As you see. We can get rid of our clipping plane. So, like, having it as a profile is like standard, okay. Going for extra would be like adding things like window panes. I don't think this one has a door, but like for the courtyard, you need to put it in, and if you put like actual doors, that will be extra, and I say, so go for that. So we've got that, so that's the main one for the house. Now let's talk about how to do the stairs. Copy these. Okay. So I'm going to turn off things we're not going to be looking at. Well, okay, I guess we're not, can't. So again, we're going to mainly just be working with the profile of the building. So we can get rid of a lot of this info. I won't be too detail oriented, but. So let's start by looking at our plans and elevations and figuring out where the different levels are and what's on them. So if we look at our elevations, we see that this back line right here, which lines up to the back of house, is one plane. And then it stops being a plane right where the steps happen. And so we have 3 steps that we need to worry about. So
Wait, this is like confused. This question I got confused on. From
Yeah.
different views, you'll see either 3 or 2 steps.
yes, so if we look at like where the elevation is, sometimes you only see 2. Because if you look at this plan, by the time it gets over here, there's only 2 steps. But when you see it from over here, there's 3 steps.
Okay.
So that's why that's different. And then there's also like a tiny bit of a step up here, which I think is going to be where we get our 6 inches difference from the courtyard.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and do that one first. Sorry, I thought that was a question. I'm just gonna. Okay. So again, this is tedious. You could theoretically, oops. Yeah. We could just do it a polyline to around the parts that aren't curved. So right now we're doing just the plane that is the house. Actually, I'm not sure.
Is this in inches or decimals?
It should be inches. If you're not sure, you can check in document properties, but I did change it when I got in here, so. So let's click this one, add in this one. So basically I'm just redrawing the line work that I'm going to be using to make my planar surface. which is one of the commands that Spencer talked about today. Okay, so and then I probably shouldn't be recording myself saying this, but you have a little bit more flexibility in a modeling like this where it's not going to be to scale and it's mainly to give a view. So if it's slightly off, like, don't kill yourself about it, but you want to be as precise as possible, but there's a tiny bit more wiggle room because you're mainly going for form. Alrighty, so we've got this, and so let's do join, close curve. Okay, and then let's make that a depth point.
Is close curve a command to join lines like that, right?
If you try to close a curve, if you try to join and it says like one open curve, you can do close curve, and that'll usually close any small gaps. Sometimes if it's like a bigger gap or it's kind of way more messy than it should be, it's going to do something weird, but generally close curve will fix most of it. So first we're going to extrude the curve, and then, yes. So let's put it as exterior walls. So this is just going to be basically the step up from like the top of the steps to the house. So let's just call it 2 inches. Maybe this is being petty. I probably, yeah. Okay. And then we're going to plane our surface. Did that not work for me? Oh, no, it worked. Okay, so we have our ground floor. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this surface, let's get a better view. What happened to that? I thought I'd done, okay. Extrude. What do we do, 2? Alright, I didn't let me do that. So let's try one more time, figure out what's not going on. And then hiding is useful because it makes it a lot easier to see. Extrude curve. Alright, so theoretically it should. 2 inches. Why? I'm going to look at this curve out of plan, try and figure it out. If it's not working, we'll go on to the other ones, but theoretically, sometimes if you can't figure out why it's not extruding, exploding, and then rejoining can help. Alright, so we have 2 open curves. Is this it? Yep, there we go. That's why it wasn't going to work. And this is what I meant by being more precise saves you time. If I had made sure these matched, I wouldn't have had to do this. Okay. And let's see if y'all still not being friends? Okay. Alright. What? Wow. And it looks like we have multiple. Alright. So again, this is me trying to be fast and not make you watch me draw too much and then making you watch me draw even more. Alright. So finally we've got our one curve. I'll extrude 2. Go back to perspective. And then this is our landscape. So, got steps. Okay. So let's move it back on our plane. Oop. Okay, so we've got that one, and we're going to just hide it as well. Now, we want to make our second ground plane, which is going to be the one that's a little bit below that one. So that's going to be all of this area behind the house. So we do another polyline, and so that will be from the top of the step. Let's see if we can do curve Boolean. All right, we want to keep, oops. All right, this might work. Oops. Ooh, that's too much. Sorry, I'm using one of Spencer's commands that I hadn't thought to use for it. Shoot.
Are you command picking to do so?
Yep. So I'm just selecting the areas we don't want. You can also, oops. Command. Oops. Okay. So it's tedious and there's multiple ways. You could redraw the lines like I did for the first one, or undo this. I can't do my drag select, which is annoying. I just want, usually you can drag and deselect. Almost done. Alright. Oh man, okay, so we're not gonna do that. I'm just gonna show you the principle, and then I'll show you the version I made. So now we made a line. So that's using curve Boolean. What I did before was I used polyline and went around it. They're both options. Curve Boolean might work better for the next steps, but doing this one, it ended up being a pain in the butt. So again, multiple tools. Sometimes they don't always work as well as you like. So now we have this one. We want to, our stairs, does anyone remember how high the rise of the stairs is?
5 inches.
5 inches. Okay, so we extrude 5, and then we have this one. Yep. So we're just gonna delete the things that weren't supposed to be on that layer. And we could try capping it. And there you go. And so now let's do show. Hide. So this is a little curve we made before. Cap. Well, I didn't want to cap it, but we can just do this.
So we're gonna have multiple like landscape layers
Yes.
stacked for the stairs.
Mm-hmm. So then you'll make this one, and then, hold on. The zoom is being really annoying.
Could we not do sweep along rail or sweep rail 2 and follow the same rail of the curve? And just
Yeah,
use
you could do the sweep, that's, yeah, so
5
that's,
inches? Would that work better than?
so what you're, I think, what I hear you say is you take this profile, and then sweep along the curve.
I think so, yeah.
That could work for sure. So file, open recent. So what I ended up doing was just following the curve of each and then making a curve boolean and then stacking them on top of each other. So these are each their own, and then all of these are just the lines of the step made.
Did someone how Spencer did this stairs?
I didn't actually look at how Spencer.
Oh.
Sorry. I-
We made like a bunch of rectangles basically.
Oh.
And just like
And then
put
you
them
just
up.
wing them.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, this is, yeah, there's
I think it might be.
Infinite ways to.
there's different ways to do it.
I think there's 3 different.
And yeah, so there's different ways to do it. If you really wanted to be extra, you could make a block for one of the tiles and then array along the curve. So I mean, all right, box.
Oh, actually, that's
I'm sure you could do like the side profile and then sweep the stairs across the curve.
So let's just try 24. Oops.
And then like this.
Now I'm just interested. Yeah, there's lots of ways to do it.
I don't think that'll work because your last step on the right side is a bit longer than each step on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, but theoretically, yeah, I didn't also recombine the line. Alright.
In the axonometric, are we gonna be showing those like individual tiles?
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
But if you again, level of detail is going to distinguish like A's from B's and B's from C's. So kind of do, yeah. Like
What
what?
if we build you the U house? Is that
Be-
the next credit?
Yeah, that's you.
Can we build it?
If you build the whole thing with concrete, then I don't think you need to be here. So.
Go off.
Okay, so that didn't really work as well as I wanted. But yeah, so you could do the side sweep, which is, that was an interesting thought too, is to just take the profile and then sweep it across. There's multiple ways to do it. These were just sort of the ones, but to go back to, oops, sorry. This model, kind of just to get a sense of where the ground floor is and where the steps. And you could decide to put more detail in if you wanted. If you notice in this one, in the picture, you see this is where it's concrete, this is where it's grass. You could have that divider in there if you want. You could put it in after. So, which one is this?
Do you want us to include the step up to the door?
Yes, if you can. If not, that's like it's a more of a like high finish, like that's like a polish. So the more polished, the better. But it's not a make or break. Okay, so which other ones? Yeah, to maybe just talk about some of the other things that were done. This I would say is like a 75% done model or an 80% done model. It's pretty close.
Did you extrude, did you give it a foundation and your cream?
Oh, for that, I made a surface with a polyline. So
I think it looks better with
yeah,
Yeah.
so what to do for the polyline? I just went here and I traced it.
yeah.
So if you see it's all the way down, and then I just did planar surface.
It kind of just cuts it right there.
Yep, so I just literally just drew the line.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do the other one. The other thing you could do is if your images are super tight, you can just draw like this, make a planar surface, and then just stick it on the side of the house.
Is that what that green box is?
That's what the green box is. It was from the other one. But again, we're not going to see that side.
Yeah.
So don't spend too much time doing something you don't see. Yeah, that's the Make 2D. We'll look at that in a second.
The skylights, all we have to do is extrude at the angle that it's on, right? On the roof.
Well, that's one way to do it. Again, yeah, there's multiple ways to skin her out. I just made boxes and then Booleaned a box out of it. And then I found the angle of the roof. So here's something we're going to get to know more is dimensions. So say I'm like, okay, well, what is the angle of this roof? If you go into drafting, you can find the angle. So you can do dim arc, and it's 65 degrees. So theoretically, and again, I did this and it still required tweaking, but theoretically, once you have your window, let's just make a box, a dumb box.
You could just line it up.
Yeah, 2, there's a box, and we need to tilt it. It's hard to see. So standard. What did I say? 67? 65.8.
I'm not 100% sure, but
If it's in the ballpark. Alright, hold on. I might have tilted it the wrong way. Dang it. That's not right.
I think that angle was from the wall to there.
Yeah, let's try negative 65.8.
It's the inside. It's the inside angle that you measure.
Ooh,
Does
Control
that
Z.
matter?
Theoretically, I mean, it might be slightly different, but
Could you just match the color?
you could also just do this. Or you could put the clipping plane and then do the gumball. So there's multiple ways. Yeah. Do what works for you. Play around with it. Like I said, this is a language. Like if I had Spencer, Will, or Abby do it, they would probably do it differently. And when I see them drawing it, I was like, oh wow, you used like split differently than I do. So again, like we want you to learn a little bit, but I'm just trying to get you started. For the doors, I did a Boolean split. This one's pretty dumb. You can just make some boxes.
Did you inset the door?
Yes. So I inset the door, and then
So what's on the inside doesn't really matter because we're not doing the line. We're not doing the.
I mean, if you want to try the hidden lines, we can try that.
No thanks. No thanks.
Like sometimes they look cool, but generally I'm like, meh. I feel like,
I feel the same.
We'll probably end up doing that for the banner.
Yeah, we're going to be playing with the interior and the manner, so you probably will eventually have to model the interior lines. But I think so let's go back, We should apply our ISO, like, gradient hatch lines on our drawing as a texture. The lines that go like this.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
It sounds more stupid.
Yeah, I try to like use the right words, but sometimes like the thingies is more clear. But I'm like, I'm supposed to teach you what they're actually called. But so to get to the perspective we want, you want the U to be right side up, and then you go to set view, and we're going to be doing isometric southeast. And then everything will be isometric. So here's the view we're doing of our house. You will see right here is where you'll see where you put the door in. Here's where you'll see the opening. And this is where you will make 2D. I would make sure you turn off your graphic standards, because sometimes you can carry lines into your make 2D that you don't want.
If you do merge all coplanar faces, will that get rid of all those lines that you see when you did sweep to rail?
It's actually they're iso curves.
Oh, is that why you see them? Okay.
Yeah, and they won't come up in the make 2D
Okay.
unless you ask them to.
Oh.
Okay. Apply. I think I gave you guys a screenshot of the ones I ended up using. So here is our drawing. Voila. So because of the way we did it, there's some inaccuracies and things that we need to fix. Again, I was doing this pretty fast. You'll do it with more attention. But you'll want to clean this up. So like, we know that these lines don't exist. This was from where I like combined things. So you want to trim those. We know this line doesn't exist. And we need to make sure our ledge is correctly shown. So put this there. And trim. So yeah. Alright, that was poorly done. That's a little bit better. But I'm just trying to get you, whoa, that's really ugly. But you hopefully are getting the gist of you need to clean up your drawing. And again, this is where the more detail you put in on the front end, the less time you have to spend cleaning up your drawing. And if you rush the way I did, you'll have to spend more time going back. So, yeah. Eventually, you will kind of trim it a little bit more. Oops, I need to draw my standards back on. And then you'll want to apply line weights to it. So there's a few ways you can do this. You can just select the curves you want to make. Like, you're going to use the same process that you did for all the elevations and sections. The profile gets the heavy line. Anything inside the profile gets a medium. Anything inside of those like gets a light. So one thing you can do to kind of cheat is be like, oh, I'm going to make all of my light walls. You can do this, select objects. Let's change all of our, I'm in another folder. So when you make 2D, it gives you different lines. So I have new lines in my Make 2D that are specific to the layers that the objects were on when I made 2D. Make 2D, here are the lines. I'm selecting walls, and I'm going to make those all light. So all of those lights, ooh, that's weird. Those lines became light. Why? Okay. I don't know where it's going. There we go. So theoretically, those should have all been made light. Oh yeah, they did, sorry. So yeah, all of those lines that were white are now light. So these little boxes are gonna be light. The door frame is light. This will probably be a little bit heavier, kind of what we were doing before. And this isn't finished, so I wouldn't like, don't quote these line weights. This is me just testing it out. But yeah, you'll want the profile to be heavy, and then the interior edges to go down in gradation. And then one other thing we can do is we're gonna, let's see, ISO, extract ISO curve. Okay, never mind. I thought that was a command where you can actually get these lines to print or to pull them off, but instead you're going to want to eventually add in your lines.
Did you just like copy over the lines that were on the other one and then move them?
No, because they are at a different angle, but you'll do pretty much the same thing. And to say divide, or yeah, you want to make sure you have like the same length, but divide. That's weird. Sorry. All right, let me start over. I was trying to go fast, but that won't work. You'll want to mark points on each of them to do the same way you had before. So you would probably need to go from here. And then let's do divide. What is going on? Am I just, alright, sorry. Divide. This is probably too many. And so you can do it this way. You're like, no. Again, you could probably stop it over here. I don't know if that actually looks as good as I want it. Alright, I'm being fast and those don't do it this much. Right. Let's see how that looks. So, let's do edit. So yeah, there's one way to show them. And just kind of the same way we did it before. You just have to remake them showing the isometric angle. So same principle. And then of course you would go back and trim because you don't want these lines here. And so this is the one I just made, and you'll notice that not all of the lines came through. So you'll need to go back and put some of the lines in, like this. Didn't show up, so you'll need to redraw. Take this off. And so this shows up like this. When you make 2D, you'll make a line. Same here. Oh, that looks a little funny. Okay. This. So we get the gist. Hopefully that'll get you pretty well started. Get as far as you can. We'll do markups on Thursday and do lots of troubleshooting. So I think that should get you going. So let's talk about your layout. First, maybe we can do a pinup. Well, okay, so we have this all recorded. Maybe we'll go back into this. So let's go back to Blackboard, or we'll just do the thing I uploaded. So this is what's up on Blackboard. So you'll just copy and paste all of your drawings into here. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And then you'll go to these to do your drawing set. I realized I put the section line, I just copied Thomas's section lines, and I forgot to switch the direction, so I'm pretty sure they're facing the wrong way. Yes, the B's are definitely facing the wrong way. So you want to ungroup. I'll probably just re-upload this. And you will, I didn't want to do everything, so I left like some things to do. So you will need to place the section lines that fit with your drawing. You will need to copy these lines into all of your, the 3 for the section and 2 for the elevation. So let's just do an example. All right. Just Control Copy, go to top, Control V. You'll bring these here. You'll align accordingly. And so you'll find your east elevation. I'm not being accurate, I'm just kind of showing. So wherever you import it, you'll do the zoom command. Zoom selected. And click on viewport property. Make sure it's the right scale. And so we're doing 1/8, and so it's going to actually be like 1 to 96 once we've accounted for 1 foot equals 12 inches. So that is our scale. So you'll put them all in, and then line these up so that they match your roof and ground. If you did a really good job, they should all fit. If not, that's a sign you need to go back and tweak your drawings. Like that. Wonder what goes on. So, you guys know how to do this, right? You're experts at layout space now. But yeah, I feel like you can handle. So this is basically what I'm giving you. I'll delete my drawings and re-upload it so that the arrows are the right way, just so that way I'm not culpable when half of you don't do it. We also renamed our sections to follow the studio's naming, so there's be AA, BB. So when you line up the line section arrows, there'll be AA and BB. And so let me save, and then I'm going to re-upload it, and then, actually, hold on. Let's fix our line weights. So I have been playing around with the line weights, and I just printed, and I think that the pattern, the gray lines look a little bit too light. So I'm going to change them. Oh, that's not right either.
You say two, right?
Yeah, so we're gonna make them gray. I thought they already were gray. So when on Thursday, we're gonna all open our computers, and we're gonna go look at all of our layer settings, and you're gonna go through with me and make sure that these are all the same.
Did you meant to change line gradient?
Yes.
I think FedEx is not for line gradient.
Oh shoot, you're right. That should be. I did change that too. That should be 0.5. And I changed this to 0.35. Alright. So once I save these, they should all. Ooh. Is median? Right. Okay. I think Thomas's has some in here. Okay. So. And then before you guys all plop this all in, if you want to print it out and want it to be redlined, that's an excellent way to get ready for the critique on Tuesday. It costs $7 to print. Y'all, but
Just the one?
yeah.
Third-
So you will need to print. Oh my gosh! By the time we had reviews where we would blow like $80 in printing.
Holy cow.
Like so.
$80?
Yes. So like yeah.
Kinda hurts.
It hurts, but it's sort of like, I don't know, or you're gonna spend like $200 on a model. It happens. It's expensive, but it's $7 for this one. So
So, you know how we have a set amount of money on our card?
yes,
How do we,
you go. It's whatever it's called, Dragon Dollars or Flings. Just Google.
I'm pretty sure you can do it through the housing portal.
Yeah, you just do it. I don't know. I never know what the website is, but if you just say like add money to Flames Fair or Dragon Dollars, it'll show you the link.
I got you at once, it was fairly from my house.
Yeah, it's not too hard.
I was gonna say, 'cause I don't live on campus, man.
Thomas said that going to FedEx cost about the same. I don't know about that. I tried to do that recently, and it was like a pain in the butt. So
Just do it here.
yeah, you get to know the machines.
Or I know how to do it, yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna stop the recording, and we can do